Hey, welcome to my YouTube channel, welcome to this video. My name is Ella and I'm from Illuminated Calligraphy, and this is my bullet journal setup for February. Whether you've watched any of my videos before or this is your very first one, you are so welcome, and I would love to hear your thoughts, your comments, any questions you might have, etc. Please feel free to add them in the comments below or get in touch with me on social media. If you all have seen some of my other videos before, you know that I usually don't really come into these things with a plan. I usually just make them up as I go along, not really have a structure or a theme or anything. And I kind of wanted to change that. I wanted to be a bit more cohesive and all like working well together. So therefore the theme that I decided for February is Paris, as you probably would have guessed by the drawings that are now starting to form on screen. So I've never actually been to Paris. Like, I've landed at the airport once, but that was years ago. But I do love the city, like how I imagine the city to be anyways, and I do desperately want to go at some point. I did binge watch a lot of Emily in Paris when it first came out onto Netflix, so maybe that's where my Parisian obsession has come from in the last couple of weeks. So in order to create this picture that you see me draw at the moment, I took a bunch of elements from different photos that I liked and tried to put them together. And then I'm using my fine liners as well as my Tombow pens to create this composition the way it is. I didn't want it to look too realistic. I wanted it to be quite free, quite fun, and a bit like sketchy and doodly. So, which is why I'm going for the style that you see over here. And of course, you can't really say that you're doing a Parisian/French theme without actually writing anything in French. So this is a quote by Claude Baudelaire, and it basically says that the most beautiful emotions are the ones that we cannot express in words. Now, if any of you know me personally, you know that I'm an Enneagram number 4, and one thing that the Enneagram 4 is very, very big on is their emotions. So I just love to include this in this one as well. I didn't want to do a very cliche French quote, but I did quite like this one, and it just looks cool to write something in a different language. So I've started including doodles on this page, and the main reason for this is because I want to include different small drawings on the page throughout this whole month, and this will create a bit of a storyline, and this will also make it look more like one theme. I still wanted to include a workout log in this month's setup, but I didn't want to do it quite the same way I did before, because what I found is that I'm someone who more works in sets of workouts rather than individual exercises. So rather than creating a sort of Excel sheet style overview like I did in January, I decided to make larger boxes that gives me more space to write specific workouts down, and then write notes where it's actually relevant rather than having to write it every single day. This still allows me to give a bit of an overview of what I've been doing, as well as get a really clear target of how often I have to exercise. I didn't include a health logger in January. This was because the majority of the month of January we were actually doing a Daniel fast, meaning that I had to eat very healthily anyways. So I didn't really want that to become like a massive focus. However, now that's over, we're still in lockdown and the gyms are closed, so I felt like I had to get a little bit more disciplined with what I eat. And I wanted to be able to create a very clear way to track things like macros and just generally have an idea of how well I'm eating. Like I said earlier, this is also where I'll be including little drawings, little doodles like the one I've got at the first page, just to create that consistency. I was actually quite satisfied with my finance tracker for the last month, so I'm basically mimicking the same sort of setup that I used before. The only thing that I'm adding on to now is putting in a savings goal. This is not something that I included last month, but it is something I want to be very intentional with, hence the reason that I am putting it at the very top.
As you've also probably noticed, is I'm not using a ruler to draw any of my boxes, and they always have a thicker outside line and then a thinner inside one. This is something that I am repeating on every single page in this month, and this is again to create consistency.
The Dream Logger is something that might be new to you guys. It is something that I added to the end of January last month. And that's literally because I like to write down what I dream, because my dreams are really bizarre, really funny, really strange sometimes. And it's just fun to write them down because then I remember them. Again, this is not going to be a tracker that has a lot of detail in it. I basically want to create a space where I can write my dreams down, and it doesn't really have to be very structured. And this is also because sometimes I remember a lot of detail and sometimes I don't remember anything. Or not that much anyways. So yeah, I just had to be very flexible with the space that I've got available.
Again, you see that I'm hand drawing the boxes with a thicker outside line and a thinner inside line. And the reason why I'm doing it by hand and not using a ruler is just to keep it free and to keep it fun. And I don't want it to be too polished because I don't think that works well with the kind of doodles that I'm adding to the tracker. So now I start to set up my weekly tracker. I'm first softly penciling it in, just using a normal pencil. And I will actually be creating exactly the same layout for every single week in February. One thing that I really love about this month is that the first is on a Monday and we've got 28 days, which means that we've got exactly 4 weeks. And I just really appreciate that symmetry. Did you actually know that if we were to make every month exactly 4 weeks, we would have exactly 13 months? So that means that every single week could be like this. So I'm a little bit frustrated that it's not, but oh well. So I've drawn my boxes again with a double line, a thicker and a thinner, and I'm creating the headings using the similar colours that I've used on the other pages. Like I said, the overall layout will be the same on every single week, however the little doodle that I put in the back will be different. But of course they're all going to have something to do with Paris. I am, however, still adding in pages for preach notes in February. Again, it's something I did last month and I really liked it. What I'm doing now, however, is I am putting space for 2 weeks next to each other. This is so that I can still fit my normal weekly logger next to each other. So this is week 2, again exactly the same layout, the colours are slightly shifted in the boxes, and now I'm again drawing a little drawing of a picnic basket. And I'm repeating the process again for week 3. I do like this setup because I've got a lot of space to write things in, as well as it being very open and very easy to draw. And here is the last and final week of February. Again, the same setup, a little monthly overview in the corner, the different colors for the headings where I'm writing the dates and the days. And a little doodle of a coffee cup with a croissant, of course. So that includes my setup for February. I'm very happy with how it turned out. There are, of course, things that I would have done differently, but that's just the way of any creative process. It's never going to end up exactly how you want it. But I do like how it looks, and I think it's cute, and it's got a very strong theme running through it this time, which makes me very happy. But overall, the style is still quite simple and a little bit romantic. So that was it for this time. Thank you so much for watching. Again, if you've got any questions, let me know, and see you next time.